Hello, welcome to Full Record Jacket, and welcome back if you've been with us for these one-hit wonders of the 90s. We're going to draw some more and find out who is winning, who's going through to the next round of 32. So, Ben, in the round of 64 pot, what have you got?
I've got this one, Phil.
What horrors lie within? Or would it be something I actually like? Here we go.
When I say boom, 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 let me hear you say wayo.
Oh
Wayo.
my goodness me. That's one of the ones that I actually thought of when I was thinking of the one-hit wonders of the 90s that I really was irritated by at the time.
I mean, we may have to look at this one because they did have Don't Stop Wiggle Wiggle, if I remember rightly, which may have been a hit. But we'll see what it's up against.
Well,
first.
I think they either way they could be disqualified by default. To be honest, their chances of winning are not high anyway. Whatever they come up against,
They're not, and it's come across a good one. My spelling's atrocious on this one. It's You're Gorgeous by Baby Bird.
Okay, well, boom, boom, boom. Let me hear you say wayo.
Wayo.
I don't want to hear any more. So I want that out, and I want Baby Bird through. And I'm not even. I don't think you're going to challenge me.
No, very prolific artist as well, weren't he, Baby Bird?
Yeah. Do you know what I used to have a track by Baby Bird on a sampler from Q Magazine. It's really cool. I haven't heard it for years. Just dropping this in. Bad Old Man. You ever heard that one?
I haven't.
It's good. It's a bit darker than You're Gorgeous, but worth it. But he was quite Stephen something, and his surname's gone out of my head.
Yeah, it was
Stephen. He was pretty much a one man outfit, wasn't he? I think he had hired hands to perform on stage with, but he made all the records himself. Stephen Jones. I was about to think it was Jones, and I thought no, it must have been something different to that, but no, it was Jones.
He's 60 now. He's from Telford, but I remember him being really prolific. I mean, in 1995. Go on, have a guess how many albums he released in 95.
I have a feeling he did 3 albums in a year or something. Am I right?
He did 3 albums in 95, 3 albums in 96. Didn't release anything till 98, and then he's still releasing music, but he's kept it down to, apart from 2017, he released 5 albums in 2017.
Did he have an album called A Close Shave? Am I remembering that correctly?
Wasn't that the follow-up to the Baby Bird album?
Something like that.
The title of the Baby Bird album sort of... I remember Ugly Beautiful.
That's it. I think Ugly Beautiful is the one with You're Gorgeous on it, if I remember correctly.
Yes, Bad Shave, I think, was before...
I think Bad Shave was one of his early indie ones where he was a cult artist at that point, and then You're Gorgeous was the big mainstream hit.
That
that's it. So cool record. I still think it's cool of its time, and
I do as well.
Had some memorable lyrics in it as well, clever stuff.
You're gorgeous on it.
Yeah, we're going for him. So he's through.
You're
Gorgeous. We kicked out here, brothers. Boom, boom,
out here,
boom.
Brothers. We're not sad.
So, Baby Bird, You're Gorgeous, winning that particular episode of the Beauty Parade. Okay, what have we got next?
We've got a banger, Phil.
Okay.
We've got a 90s.
A true
classic.
True decade classic, have we?
We've got a true classic. And probably one of the best albums of the 90s as well, if not one of the best of all time. It is There She Goes by the Lars. And it's not up against Lou Bega, we know that much.
Don't say it's another cool classic, is it? A credibly good record. How do we know this was going to happen? It's like the FA Cup, this, isn't it? This is like...
Why couldn't it have been that one there? Why couldn't it have...
It's like first round FA Cup and 2 of the top Premiership teams up against each other, and the fans of both are disappointed.
Born Slippy Underworld.
Oh my goodness me! I was thinking that's what it was going to be when you said it was a true 90s classic.
This is tough, but do you know what gets it for me?
Go on.
I played both of these tracks came on because the other day, and I think there was something in between, and I really love There She Goes. It's a classic. There's no getting away from it. When Born Slippy comes on, it makes me feel something in here. That opening sort of expansive...
Dum, 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 that
Yeah,
symphony.
yeah. It takes me back to...
Takes you back to the 90s.
Takes me back to the 90s. And
Well,
it makes me think, God, that 96 period was...
Yeah.
Everything was mega.
Well,
and
mega
and it
white
was part
thing.
of Train Spotting.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen Train Spotting 2. But obviously, we're men. I was going to say we're men in our 40s, but you're not anymore. But when I watched Train Spotting 2, it made me think, oh, God, how much time has gone since we were young. And every time I hear that opening bit to Born Slippy, it pulls something inside my soul and makes me think, reminds me of being in, remember Dickie Bowes?
Yeah.
Being in there.
Yeah, it reminds me. I remember hearing it in the town centre, blasting out of a pub. Well, because there's no version that goes on for about 10 minutes or something.
Yeah. I think the version on the Train Spotting soundtrack's about 7.5 minutes.
It's an unusual record, but it's one of the very few sort of dance type, thumping electronic records that I really liked at the time.
Yeah,
but
there's something about it.
Now, There She Goes by the Lars. I thought that was going to be a big contender for winning this tournament. Certainly would be up there. Now, the Lars debut album is a great debut album, and
it is a great debut album.
It's if you haven't heard it, it's worth a listen if you like guitar pop. Now, there's there's a song on that album called "Timeless Melody." And I think it's fair to say that There She Goes is kind of a timeless song because it could have been made in the 70s, it could have been made in the 60s. It's, it just has a completely timeless sound to it. So although it is of the early 90s, it to me, it doesn't link into the 90s as much as Born Slippy, Underworld. That is so definitively of the 90s.
It is.
And also, I have a feeling that I don't know what else Underworld did. I think they must have done some other stuff that was successful. But for me, they are one massive hit that I remember and not a lot else. So
this is the hardest battle.
It is the toughest battle. But I do go along with what you said in terms of being part of the cultural
movement
thing of the time and being absolutely on the cutting edge at the time of pop culture, being both popular and cool and everything. And yeah, I'm thinking that Born Slippy has to go through.
Just the mixture of the lyrics, and I think one of the lyrics is about watching your mum pissing in a pot in some underground tube.
Is that
station.
right? I've never actually listened to all of those lyrics.
I'm pretty sure there is a lyric. Now, once again, research.
I know it contains the line "Shout it, lager, 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 lager." That's actually water, but yeah.
Yeah, drive boy, dive boy, dirty numb angel.
No, that's right. Yeah. I've never known for what any of it's about. I've never.
Here we go.
Here's the lyric.
And look at me, mum. Oh no, it's not about watching his mum. He's basically look at me, mum, squatting. Pissed in a tube hole at Tottenham Court Road. I just came out the ship. But yeah, I mean, it's just a mega song. Even if you're not into that kind of music, it does make you think.
Yeah, I did enjoy it, and I'm not normally into that kind of thing, so that says something for it. Whereas obviously There She Goes is more likely to be my kind of thing, so I'm more likely to be easily impressed by that. So there we go. Born Slippy by Underworld slips through into the last 32. And as for the Lars, well, there they go.
They go, but out of homage, they're not being ripped up.
Don't rip them up because we have too much respect for Lee Mavers.
Too much respect for the madness of Lee Mavers. On to the next one, Phil.
Okay.
Ooh. One of Us, Joan Osborne.
Joan Osborne.
Yeah. And it is up against, if I can grab one out, Semicharmed Life by Third Eye Blind.
Oh, no, I'm having difficulty remembering that one. I remember the Joan Osborne one very well.
I would say Semicharmed Life, Third Eye Blind is another one sort of slightly upbeat pop, sort of. I'd say it's a bit better than the Spin Doctors. but it's not memorable, and it's a rubbish name for a band as well.
Yeah, I know. I have to just. I just have to refresh my memory on this. Hang on.
What if God was one?
Semi-Charmed Life, is that the one?
That's the one. Yeah.
Right. I'm just gonna switch my mic off.
Here we go. Phil's bringing it back. Look at his music listening face. It's a happy face. He's in a happy place. Phil's listening to music. He's nodding his head. Ooh, what's Phil playing? Well, we know it's Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind.
Okay, I kind of remember it.
Back.
I must admit, it's not one that really sticks strongly in my memory. It's not one I really remember that well. I do remember the Joan Osborne one well. Fact about the Joan Osborne one. Do you want to know a fact? I can tell you 2 facts about that song off the top of my head. First fact is, I think it was her first hit over here. I don't think she had any more hits. I remember it was on an album called Relish. Remember that much?
It was, yeah.
And I do have the cover of this song that was done not long afterwards by a very famous artist. Do you know which famous artist covered One of Us by Joan Osborne?
Can you give me a clue on decade? Was it Bob Dylan?
No, it was in 1996. It was an artist who was younger than Bob Dylan, and it's an artist who's mainly associated with writing his own music. A bit more pop than Neil Young. Mainly a bit more.
Buddy Holly.
More. He's been on the pop charts a lot. Acclaimed artist. Mainly writes all his own songs, but does occasionally do a good cover. And I'll give you a clue. He actually changed one of Joan Osborne's lyrics. You know, it says, "What if God was one of us, just a slob like one of us?" He changed it to "just a slave like one of us."
Prince.
Indeed. When he was the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yeah.
He did it on his album Emancipation. He was a big fan of that song. So
is that the one with gold on it, Emancipation?
No, it's the one after that. The Gold Experience was 95, and then Emancipation was 96. But
yes, yeah.
There you go.
So
Joan Osborne, she's going through then, is she? Yeah,
she's going through, and Semi-Charmed Life. Well, it's not charmed anymore. They're being ripped up.
They've gone. Okay.
They've gone. So next, Phil. Next.
Sorry if you like the Semi-Charmed Life song. I don't think it was absolutely dreadful. I thought it was okay, but preferred Joan Osborne. Okay, here we go.
It is A Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh, my goodness me.
Blue something. Another rubbish band name.
Another one that I actually listened to it on my listen through the other day. So I'll give you my verdict.
You will give me. I'm just trying to bloody get this. There's 2 of them stuck together here. Oh God, come apart. Right. And it's up against Runaway Train, never coming back. Runaway.
Can't say I'm particularly keen for either of these to go through myself, but
I do like the video to Soul Asylum's Runaway Train. I think it featured pictures of missing children.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was something along those sort of lines.
Now, Soul Asylum were kind of an American rock band, weren't they? Really, middle of the road rock, I suppose. I don't know what you'd call it. I don't know that much about them. I do remember that song getting heavy airplay and rotation here. I don't know why it suddenly came from nowhere to be so played. Obviously, some record company did a good job of plugging it, I guess. Because it's the sort of song you'd expect to be popular in America, but maybe not so much over here. But and then Deep Blue Something. Now,
awful name.
Now I'll tell you, this is the song "Breakfast at Tiffany's." Basically the lyrical premise of this song. I've been listening to it, and I was aware of the lyrics before. But basically, it's a boy and a girl. They haven't got anything in common. Sorry, my chair's just gone click there.
Apart from their love of the film.
Well, this is the thing. Now that would be okay in a way as a premise for a song, maybe, yeah. But in the lyrics, he says, "What about Breakfast at Tiffany's?" And she says, "Oh yeah, I think I remember the film."
Yeah.
So if it's one of you, if you both had the very favourite movie, or both, you think you would at least remember it. She thinks
she might have short-term memory
she
loss.
thinks she remembers it, and he does. He obviously likes the film. She just about thinks she remembers it, and
Doesn't have George Peppard in it.
that's enough to give them something in common. It's a pretty tenuous something in common, isn't it? Really.
Say that we've got
Now, I'll tell you what,
nothing in common.
I do find it quite annoying, and I don't really like the whole thing. It's not my kind of thing. But I'll tell you what, the guitar bit on it is quite good.
The jingly jangly.
Yeah, the guitar bit's good. That's the best thing about the song.
You say, I must admit, I did buy it on CD single. Breakfast at Tiffany's.
It's not a bad tune. To be fair, it's not a bad tune. If it had different lyrics and a different attitude to it, it might have been a much better record. Musically, it's not actually that dreadful. It's just it got this.
It's not a Norse Runaway. I think Runaway Train, Soul Asylum's got a little bit more beef to it.
It's a bit more rock and roll, is it? I'm prepared to lean in either direction on this, and if you're leaning towards Soul Asylum and you're telling me it's a little bit more rock and roll, I'm prepared to go with that.
Breakfast at Tiffany's means more to me because I think it sort of have more memories of that from that period. Soul Asylum, Runaway Train is something I've probably encountered more in my later years.
How do you think that song stands up now? What would you give that song out of 10?
What, Soul Asylum, Runaway Train? No, I'd say 6.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll probably give Breakfast at Tiffany's a 6, a push maybe. But if we're going on what it makes you remember, then obviously Breakfast at Tiffany's has more of a.
I mean, I must admit, I do remember Breakfast at Tiffany's, to quote the lyric. I do remember that more from that decade than I do remember the Soul Asylum one. The Soul Asylum one to me is kind of. Yeah, I don't remember it that well. I remember the breakfast one. We heard it all over the place.
Yeah.
So maybe that's some kind of achievement. I don't think it was. Maybe Deep Blue something. You know, they did get a massive hit. Maybe we should let them go through to the next round.
Shall we?
I don't care that much for the Soul Asylum one, so I'm not particularly bothered. So.
Well, it's dead.
Sorry if you like the Soul Asylum song. We're not saying it's a bad song. Ben gave it a 6 out of 10. That's not a. That's not a dissing. He's not dissing it. We're not dissing it. But there we go. No. It's not through, sadly.
Sadly, right. The last one of this draw. Save Tonight, Eagle Eye Cherry.
No, this is one of your favourites of that decade, isn't it? One of your favourite one-hit wonders.
It is one of my favourite. I just really, really like the song musically, lyrically. And it's up against. This is the rhythm of the night.
Okay, well, now you like that rhythm of the night as well, don't you? I think.
I don't mind it. It's sort of. I mean, back in the 90s, I wasn't really too much of a fan of sort of dance music and that, but I don't mind Corona Rhythm of the Night. It does remind me of a certain period.
To me, it's just more memories. I did have it in my Walkman, and to be fair, at first it was like, oh, a bit of nostalgia, I remember this, and then I got a bit bored of it, to be honest.
If I was going to lay it out, if I never heard Eagle Eye Cherry Save Tonight again, I'd probably be like, I'm a bit sad. If I never heard Rhythm of the Night by Corona again, which I hadn't heard it for ages until we started doing this, I'd be like, the only good thing about Corona, not the virus, but is the pop. So with that in mind, I can easily get rid of This is the rhythm of the night.
Okay, so Eagle Eye Cherry, who of course is the brother of Neneh Cherry, am I right?
Neneh Cherry, yeah. I love that song.
So
I had it playing today.
So he gets. I do remember you always liking that. So you're lucky. You're lucky it didn't come up against something I really liked, because we might have ended up with a sad situation. Okay.
The 5, they're going in the pot of joy.
5 more. So we've got the last batch to come of this first round of 64, the one-hit wonders of the 90s. We will be back in the next episode to discuss those, whether they are great, good, dreadful, or downright abysmal. You'll find out what we think.
Ugly.
Join us for that next episode. Thanks for watching this one.